Talton Cup, because we're in it too.
Yeah, we're definitely going to come to that at some stage.
Yeah. Who's in that, Bernard?
There's the draw that neither of them wanted as well. Meath and Antrim, Colm O'Rourke and Andy McEntee. That's fairly spiced up, I can tell you.
I'd say Andy McEntee must be disgusted when he saw that draw.
I don't know about that.
I'm not so sure. He might tell you that, but I'd say quietly, it's one probably Colm didn't want. Antrim probably in bonus territory at this stage, and after beating, they got here against Westmeath by 28 to 7 points or something. He's turned it around. He's done very well with them. But it's a draw. I'd say Meath and Colm O'Rourke didn't really want, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be definitely a camera on the sideline alone will be worth anything next week with those two guys.
Well, look, there was a bit of a grudge end. Like, it didn't end that well with Andy and certain members. The way that the parting of ways with the board and different things. So, look, I think there'll be a few different layers to it.
Yeah, there was, and he'd 6 years, and it was a pity it ended up the way it did for everybody's sake. He put a huge effort in, and it shouldn't have happened. There was a lot of stuff on social media, etc. But I suppose that's the age we're in. You live by the sword, you die by it, type of thing. So, but he's moved on. He moved on very quickly within days. Up in Antrim, surprised everybody in Meath, us all. I'd say probably surprised himself as well. But and Colm, I was over actually in Navan on Saturday watching Wexford, and we are where we are. That's the bottom line. The could only beat was in front of them. Couldn't believe how bad Wexford was. I was shocked. But Meath played well, a bit of freshness, a bit of youth, a bit of pace. And all goes well for a doubleheader next week in Croke Park. But
to Meath again, because you were at that 223 to 12-point win over Wexford. What was the mood music like a month ago, and what's the mood music like around the county and Colm O'Rourke now?
Listen, when the league didn't finish too well, being beaten by Offaly was a huge blow, and the manner of that defeat. I was over there, and the lack of the heart, guts, whatever you want to call it, commitment, endeavour, that shocked everyone the first 40, 50 minutes. But in saying that, I know it would be Tipperary, Waterford, down the last day. I think that was an injection. Down, kick 17 wides, I think it was, and probably could and should have beaten us. But he's brought a lot of new players in. Young Conor Gray came in again there at the weekend. An awful lot of young new players are in there now. There's a freshness, a bit of a bounce in their step. I know it's only Wexford Division 3 and 4 teams, but winning matches does give an air. To answer your question, Shane, there's a little bit more upbeat feeling in the county. Going to Croke Park next weekend, albeit the Talton Cup, it is where we are. And I think we have a really good chance of winning it. I know Down mightn't think that, or Andy McEntee and Antrim, but I think Meath are capable of beating whoever's left. And that would, ensure top championship football in the top tier next year. If you look at Westmeath, they performed brilliantly in the 3 games. And that's the only way we can build. Small steps, little bricks. And it wasn't easy. Colm O'Rourke, anyone that knows him, is a proud man, a brilliant Meath player, a great teammate of mine. And he's had some lonely, dark evenings on his own. I'm sure he did not want to be there. He is. But what do you do when you dust yourself down with a new group of players? And I'd say all the deadwood, with no disrespect to players, he's going to move them all on. And he's doing it pretty quickly. And you'll see probably an entire, bar 3 or 4 players, an entire new bunch next year in Division 2. But listen, let's go to Croke Park next weekend and get to a Talton Cup final and win it. And we're well capable of doing it.
Phil, the knives were out for Colm O'Rourke not so long ago, but winning this would, give him a nice bit of breathing room heading into next year.
It would. I was actually down there the day against Dublin in the League Park Talton. The place was hopping. It was 2 hours beforehand. There was a huge crowd around. There's such a yearning and an interest and a desire in Meath for the footballers to do well. The place, I don't know, were you there that day? The place was absolutely hopping. And then the ball was thrown in and the match was over within 15 minutes. And they were so naively set up that day. I think, I remember for one of the goals, Dublin literally, was it Sean Bowles? Someone carried the ball out from their own half back line and ran half the length of the field and with no cover, and Dublin kind of, I think, having a bit of a win. So it was just kind of really naive defensively, setup wise, but they've, in fairness to them, I think Colm, even afterwards, he was a little bit shell shocked in terms of, I think we were all expecting a bit of fight, a bit of blood and thunder. There wasn't a yellow card hardly in the match. There wasn't a tackle. Dublin played this controlled style. But since then, Colm and the lads, they've seemed to really learn the lessons. So I think we've seen the importance of these, the round robin competition, where it's allowed teams brilliant in terms of development. Like if you cut Meath's campaign off after the province, the year would be just nearly a write-off. Whereas now the team have learned, the management have clearly learned, reorganised, brought in fresh blood, and there's a real feel-good factor in a sense. And very much like Donegal had a blowout against Down in Ulster, go back the years pre-backdoor, and that would have been an awful write-off to their year. And you look at now, they're realising their potential. So, like again, through the games and development, good management, I think, the parallels are there. The new competition structures are brilliant in developing players, developing counties, So, and we saw with Kildare. Kildare were, looking like, until the weekend, looking like the season would be a disaster, really, but judging by their talent. But again, they've proven that there's huge talent within the team. So I think it's great to see counties kind of figure things out as they go and just really develop, which this is what the competitions are for.